Good day. My name is Pastor Sizo Mlungwana. I'd like to share my thoughts on stuff that has been happening around uh, English Premier League, black players, the racism that they have been experiencing, the racial attacks on Twitter, um, and also like specifically players like Paul Pogba, who was abused on Twitter because of the color of his skin. We've seen this even happening to the guy from Tottenham Hotspurs. I think is Danny Rose. Many players have experienced uh, racial abuse. And now I'd like just to share my thoughts on racism. You know, firstly, racism. This is my definition of racism. Maybe it's what is the definition of racism, but this is my definition of racism. Racism is when one race, or rather, a person or persons of a certain race discriminating against another person or persons from another racial group because of the color of their skin. Um, so that's racism in a nutshell. It's when other people feel that they are better or superior than others because of the color of their skin versus the color of the other person's skin. So that's racism basically. Um, and the race that has experienced racism more than any other is Africans, it's black people. And but Africans are not the only people who have been racially abused, who have experienced racism. Chinese have experienced racism. Indians have experienced racism. Arabs, have experienced racism. I hope it's correct to say to call them Arabs. Okay. But racism has been the root of racism has always been from a people of European descent, white people. They are the ones who have inflicted racist abuse on other races, and they have done so more on Africans, on black people. But black people, just as much as it's true that are not the only ones who have experienced racism. Others have experienced it as well, but black people uh, don't experience racism only from whites. Even other victims of racism become racist against blacks. You find that Chinese become racist against black people um, because Chinese feel that they are superior than black people. I'm generalizing right now. I'm not saying all Chinese, just like not all whites are racist. Okay, so Chinese will be racist against black people because they feel that they are better or superior than black people. And Indians as well will be racist against black people because they feel that they are more superior or better than black people. In the case of South Africa, you find victims of racism, blacks and coloreds, where colors think that they are better than black people because of they think that they are superior, they are better because they are lighter than us. So uh, That leads me to the conclusion that racism is not more about the color of your skin than it is about your economic positioning. Um, Blacks economically, they are at the bottom of the ladder. They are at the bottom, with whites at the top. What that is Europeans. And then other races are all in between, your Arabs, your Indians, your Chinese, your Asians, okay, like your Chinese, your Japanese, um, uh, and then it keeps getting lower and lower, and black people are right at the bottom, and that is what economics of the world are dictating, in the sense that in ownership of economies, ownership of wealth, ownership of big corporations, whites are leading, and Arabs lead, Chinese lead, Chinese are there, but you find that blacks own close to nothing compared to what other people are owning. And that is why I believe that racism is more about economics than it is about the color of your skin. What makes Indians to think that they are better than black people is because Indians they own more than we own. Chinese own more than blacks own. That is why, even though they experience racism from Europeans, they inflict it on Africans because, in their minds, they see themselves as being more better, more superior than black people. So it is an economic issue. Now, when we say we want to educate people against racism, when we say we want to educate Europeans, those who are racist, that do not treat people according to how they look, I do not think that we are fixing the real problem. The real problem is ownership of wealth. Now, I am not of the opinion that Europeans and other races must begin to respect black people, whereby black people allow themselves to see themselves as victims. I think it's time that black people begin to make other people respect them. We don't need other people to fight this racist problem for us, but we need to fix it ourselves. How? By making all these people who look down on us to respect us as equals, as equal human beings like themselves. They are humans, we are human. We need to make them respect us. We need to make them realize that they are no better than us. If they own more than we own, they will think they are better than us. If we want someone who is a boss to think that they are equal to their employees, I think we are being unrealistic, because that boss is the one who pays these salaries. We cannot say the boss must see himself as being equal, whereas he is expected to do more. Africans still go to white people for money. African states, they go to European countries for funding for this and that and that. We cannot go to Chinese for funding. When we want money, we borrow from them. And then we want these people to respect us. I think we need to change our story as Africans, and look for innovative ways to own something. When we own something, we will not have a need to beg people or educate people to respect us. They will respect us because they will also, life will obligate them to come to us for help, just like life has done the same to us, where we go to them for help. It cannot be a situation where the interrelationship between races is such that blacks are beggars and whites are givers. We have to create a situation where we are all givers and we are all beggars, whereby they can also come to us and say, please fund us, please help us. We can't have a situation where we are the ones who beg for things, who ask for help, and then we want them to respect us. We have to be givers as well. We have to be donors as well. You take a situation of the English Premiership. All those big clubs are owned by white people and some Asians, some Arabs, but most of them are owned by white people. All those black players who are there, who have been playing in European leagues for many years, they don't even think of investing in the football of England, where they buy a small team, build it where it goes to the Premiership, to have a situation where a Premiership team is owned by a group of black people or by a black person. We don't have that. Chinese own there, Arabs own there, but you don't have these Chinese and these Arabs who own them, they don't have a football background. But we've got black people who have been playing there for years and they don't even think of investing. How do you expect us to be respected by the world when we do not have the mind or the dedication to change our story? We can't be beggars forever. It is important that we change our story. When our story is changed, the world will have no choice but to see us as their equals. But because we will be indeed their equals, you know, we will be. So it's time that we don't expect other people to fight this battle for us. We need to ask ourselves serious questions. What do we owe? It's the same with the NBA. The NBA is black players. Is the NBA is black basketball players. That's what the NBA is. But those teams are not owned by them. Those teams are owned by everybody else but black people. We need to have a serious talk. Until we make the world respect us, the world does not have an obligation to do so. We need to make the world respect us. We're going to come and say, okay, come take a country like our South Africa. Everything here is owned by white people, except the government. The government is in the hands of black people, but who controls that government is capitalists, is white people. When whites want someone out of government, that person is going out of government. Why? Money is power. If they don't want you, you out. Who owns newspapers is them. Who owns the petroleum business is them. Who owns mines is them. Who owns retail is them. Who owns banks is them. And then you want to tell me that the world is going to respect black people when black people can't own even in countries where they are in government. No, we've got to be serious. We cannot be victims forever. We can't. We cannot be. We can't be victims forever. We can't want people to fight for us. Let us change our story. We need to change our story. I hope this meant something to you. I hope I'd love you to share your thoughts with me. Yeah, anyway, thank you so very much. God bless you.